Okay, good morning, everyone. So, on the line with us, we have Richard Horowitz, and as we mentioned, Richard is an attorney, and he is coming in for the InfraGard domestic terrorism area, but also taking a look at some of the things that are going on internationally. We've been talking about the Triangle Report coming up out of Chapel Hill, produced out of there, with a number of different people involved in it. All right, and Rich, you wanted to hit on a number of different things today. Did you want to kind of close out this report first?
Yeah, let's discuss this report in a little more detail. We'll talk about some of the mathematical findings of the report, which I think are flawed. We'll give some examples of plots in 2009, 2011, upon which these mathematical findings were based. I think we have the clip from Russia today,
Yeah, we
which
do. We do
we have.
we have one clip from Russia. Let me know when you want to lead off with that one, and we could certainly bring that one in anytime you want.
The interesting thing about that clip is that it accurately summarizes some of the points in the report, which I think is not insignificant because, as we'll see, their summary is correct, but the points are misleading, and Russia today picks up on it. But as we've been talking about, the report focuses on mathematical findings, on statistics. And one of its opening arguments is that the number of cases from 2010 to 2011 have gone down from 26 to 20. To me, is irrelevant. But the report has certain statements which I think are not substantiated by their analysis. For example, they say the rate of radicalization in the American Muslim community is far less than what was feared after 9/11. Now, that doesn't mean that what was feared after 9/11 was inaccurate or exaggerated. The fear may have been correct. It also doesn't say feared by who. Is it feared by the general public or feared by government agencies? It does say, for example, that the FBI director Mueller said that that today there's a wider array of targets and an evolution in their communications ability. But they tried to prove that that's incorrect by saying that the scale of homegrown Muslim American terrorism does not corroborate with the warnings issued by the government or in the early years after 9/11. That doesn't mean the warnings issued by the government in the early years after 9/11 were inappropriate just because 7 or 8 or 9 years later they claim they have mathematical findings to prove that that's incorrect. We'll talk about their mathematical findings in a second, but maybe we'll go to Russia television right now, Russia TV clip, and see how they summarize the report.
All right, so let's hear from Russia TV and let's see what they have to say. We'll be right back in 1 second with Richard Horowitz.
Actually called it a minuscule threat to public safety. Now, the report also includes these details. Plots and arrests have dropped sharply over the last 2 years since the peak in 2009. Of about 14,000 murders in the United States in the last year, not a single one resulted from Islamic extremism. So, there you go, folks. This incredible threat hasn't materialized.
And there you go, folks. This incredible threat hasn't materialized, according to Russian TV. What do you say, Rich? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. So, the Russian TV info lady there, she's kind of playing it down.
Are you able to show the clip?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, okay, because I couldn't see on my side. Right.
Well, no, you wouldn't see it over there.
Yes, two arguments. The plots have dropped since since its peak in 2008, and of the 14,000 murders in the U.S. last year, none of them resulted from Islamic extremism. Now, if we go over the number of plots that took place in 2009, actually peak in 2009, you'll get a sense of what they're talking about. 2009, we had the Fort Hood massacre. 2009, we had about 8 Somali Americans who were arrested on their way to training bases overseas. 2009, we had David Headley, who was involved. He was arrested, involved with the Mumbai attacks, and he had a plan to assassinate the Dutch cartoonist, and so forth. There were a large number of plots in 2009. One of the arguments that the report makes, that the Triangle Report makes, is that there have only been 3 Somali cases in the last 2 years since 2009, 18 in 2009, and only 3 in the 5 years prior to 2009. If you want to look at that mathematically, if the argument is that there have only been 3 in the 2 years since 2009, you can just as easily argue that if there are only from 2003 to 2008, there have only been 3, then we should expect that there shouldn't be a problem with this issue. Meanwhile, there were 18 in 2009. So if it peaked in 2009, for reasons that are too much to get into right now, and if the number of actual plots and arrests and indictments in 2010 and 2011 are less than 2009, that doesn't mean the threat has gone down. It means that law enforcement is doing a good job. It can mean lots of things. That's not proof that the threat is going down. And as we see, if Russia today picks up on it and highlights these mathematical findings as proof, I think that's not coincidental.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you there. And, a lot of what happens within law enforcement, the media doesn't necessarily publish all the time. So you're not hearing about every single incident that's going on out there. I think, the other piece of this, too, is I think the American public is very sensitive to the Muslim religion, and that they don't have this predisposed thing of against people who are sincere Muslims and practicing their faith. What they are concerned about are these people who are so radical that can see nothing but this extreme part of their faith, and quite frankly have taken that to the next level. And that's something in one of the clips you showed before we were researching this, from the MEMRI clip of the week, becomes very, very, very clear. They have absolutely, there's no bones about it. It's their way or the highway.
Well, one of the things I'd like to do as part of this segment is to talk about the MEMRI clip of the week. MEMRI stands for Middle East Media Research Institute. MEMRITV.org translates hundreds and hundreds of Arabic and Persian television segments. You can get them in many languages. One of them is, of course, English. And I'll just give you the number, and people could watch it at home.
Well,
and
before
then,
we get into that, Rich, why don't we just break for a short commercial here? All right, and then we can come back, and you can kind of I set you up for MEMRI, and we can get into that just a little bit more. We'll be back right after this and a commercial.